Hello everybody, and welcome to my guide to how the guild I'm in defeats Herald Gaurath in the River of Souls raid instance. This is normally done as the third boss of the instance, but the first three bosses can be done in any order. It is probably the most technically difficult of all the bosses in the River of Souls. It requires coordinated movement along with the management of several different adds. We use 3 tanks here. One main tank for the boss, one tank for the adds, and one tank for the indomitable horrors. We have a dedicated healer on the main tank, along with another on the adds tank. We have 3 or 4 raid healers who will also be responsible for keeping the indomitable horror tank alive. We also mark one person for the raid to follow. This should not be one of the tanks or the tank healers. As this boss is a dragon, he has a cleave, a breath attack, and I believe he also has a tail swipe, so people need to be careful of these. The main tank should pick the boss up at the beginning, and everyone should gather behind the boss's back left leg, including all pets. After about 5 to 10 seconds, Herald will cast Raise Dead. This will cause 4 icons to fall from the sky on random raid members. Everyone should then immediately run back towards the wall except the adds tank. Each of these idols will spawn an add. There should be 2 ancient defilers, a cutthroat and an executioner. These should be picked up by the adds tank. An idol can land on the main tank. If this happens, we have the main tank drag the boss a few steps forward, so that the add tank can pick up the add spawned there without having to worry about the boss's cleave or breath attack. Each of the ancient defilers will periodically cast Defiling Storm. 2 people should be assigned to interrupt this, one for each of the adds. We have the raid focus down one of the defilers quickly without using any AoE. Once the first one is dead, then the adds are brought to the Herald's back left leg and AoE'd down. When the adds die, they explode, doing raid damage, so this is why we single target down one of the defilers first. We then kill the rest with AoE, as the differing amount of health they have stages the deaths anyway. Herald will then, after a little while, enter his air phase. Herald will take off at the same time as he casts Raise Dead again. Everyone should run back as before, this time taking care that everyone is still gathered up. The adds tank should pick up the adds as before. Herald will also summon an icon of the Herald. This will land and will pulse a purple bubble. This does some pretty heavy damage to anyone stood in the area, so people should move out of it, though making sure once again they all stay close to each other. He will then cast Tiding of Woe on a random player. They will get an orange ring swirling effect around them. This will do a large amount of damage after a few seconds, split between all the people around them. This is why everyone should stay together during this phase, as the damage will kill a player on their own, but it is pretty negligible split between 10 or more people. During the air phase, we have the 2 tank healers stand off to the side, so they can minimise their movement. People should be alert in case one of them or one of the tanks gets Tidings of Woe cast on them, and be ready to run to them if needed. Once the icon of the Herald has landed, DPS can begin on the adds that have spawned at the beginning of this phase, in the same way as was done on the first set of adds, killing the one defiler first and then killing the rest. The defilers should be interrupted throughout this phase as well, till they are killed. Herald will then land, and as he does so, he will spawn an indomitable horror. We have the 3rd tank pick this up and tank it up to the side away from the raid. These do not hit very hard but have a very high amount of hit points, so trying to kill them is not really an option. The tank assigned to them should just pick them up after each air phase and keep them out of the way. Once Herald lands, he will start his rotation of abilities again and will keep repeating through them until he is defeated. The icons of the Herald that pulse an AoE will despawn after a time, normally just before 2 air phases after they land. This will mean there will normally be 2 icons up at any time from the 2nd air phase onwards, so care needs to be taken with all the movement. Herald will keep using his breath attack throughout the fight, even in his air phase, so no one bar the main tank should ever go in front of this boss. The tank for the horrors will not take much damage to begin with in this fight, but once he is tanking 2 or 3 of the horrors, or even more, raid healers should be aware of the greater amount of healing this tank will require. The main tank healers can also help on this tank if they have the time available. There can be a lot going on at once in this fight, and it requires a lot of coordination. The boss though doesn't add any new abilities later on in the fight, so if the first air phase can be controlled and the ads killed quickly enough, you should be in a good position to go on and defeat this boss. Thank you for watching. I've been Zero Override, and I wish you luck with this boss.